Hello, everyone. This is Eleanor Rigby. I was holding this tarnished silver thimble today. It belonged to my mother, and looking at it, I realized my skin has become just as wrinkled as the metal. It's funny how time does that. One day you're 35, worrying about the mortgage, and you blink, and suddenly you're 95, sitting in a quiet house. If I hadn't learned to change my habits 30 years ago, I wouldn't be here today. I would have lost my health, my mind, and quite possibly my husband, Thomas. Before I tell you this story, please subscribe. I want to pass this wisdom down before I'm gone, so you don't make the same mistakes I did. When I turned 65, I thought I knew everything. We had survived the lean years of the 70s and raised 3 children, but I wasn't happy. I was bitter. I remember a rainy Tuesday in 1996. Thomas was humming an old jazz tune, and I just snapped at him. I said something cruel about him being in the way now that we were retired. The look in his eyes wasn't anger, it was exhaustion. He just put on his coat and walked out into the rain. In that silence, smelling the lemon wax on the floors, I realized I was a sour woman. I had to cut the dead weight if I wanted to survive. The first habit I killed was the need to be right. I used to think managing a house meant winning every argument. I realized that afternoon that you can either be right or you can be married. I was choosing victory over peace. Think about that. How much energy do we waste trying to prove someone else is wrong just to feel a spark of power? The second was the right cultivation of worry. I'd wake up at 4 a.m. worrying about the kids or the roof. My mother said worry is like a rocking chair. It gives you something to do but gets you nowhere. At 65, I realized worry was making my joints ache and my blood pressure rise. I had to let go of what I couldn't control. The third was comparison to the past. I spent so much time mourning the 1950s, thinking about how young and pretty I used to be. I was living in a rearview mirror. I was mourning a life that was gone instead of living the one I had left. When Thomas came back that evening, soaked to the bone, I took the towel from his hands and said, "I'm sorry, Tom. I don't want to be a sour woman anymore." He told me, "Eleanor, I just want us to enjoy the sunset. We've spent enough time in the heat of the day." From then on, I stopped feeding my mind junk. I stopped the gossip and the angry news. I started walking through the park when the oaks turned burnt orange. Young people today might not understand, but back then, we didn't work on ourselves, we just endured. But experience has taught me that aging is a refinement. You have to scrape away the rust to see the metal. Marriage isn't a fairy tale, it's a marathon. Thomas and I had years where we were just business partners, or where the hurts were too deep to speak. But because I changed at 65, we had 30 more years of true companionship. We didn't have a penny in 1952, and it wasn't money that kept us together. It was choosing to be each other's sanctuary. Your habits are the bricks you use to build your life. If you use angry bricks, your house will crumble. At 95, the view is better when you aren't carrying old grudges. Love isn't a feeling, it's a decision you make every morning. It's choosing to be kind when you have every right to be right. In my day, we fixed things. If a marriage cracked, you mended it. You didn't throw it away. Sacrifice isn't a dirty word. It's saying your peace is more important than my ego. I'm 95 now. My hands shake, but my heart is lighter than it was at 65. I cut the anger and the pride, and because of that, I'm still finding beauty in the light hitting that old thimble. You aren't stuck being who you were yesterday. You can put down the heavy bags. Take a lesson from an old soul. Life is short, even when it lasts a century. Cherish your people, Forgive the small things, and remember that the most important work happens in the secret corners of your own heart.